This image and this image, and this image all were made using artificial intelligence and supercomputers. Artificial intelligence. AI is advancing at an alarming rate. Can now write blog posts, post on social media, make content, and write code. Artificial intelligence won an award at the Colorado Art Festival this year.
This piece of art right here, believe it or not, well, it was created using AI, or artificial intelligence, and it is stirring up a conversation of what is considered art, and is a technology blurring the lines of creativity and pushing out human artists. Whether it be sculptures, paintings, or photography, art has continued to evolve over the years. In 2022, an uproar over whether artificial intelligence is considered art.
In a competitive setting.
Sparked by Jason Allen. He entered this piece into Colorado State Fair's art competition in the digital category. His piece won first place, but criticism is mounting because Allen created
tools. VFX and graphics artists are on the verge of losing their career. AI is good at 99% of jobs that humans have been doing for thousands of years, and there is billions flowing into projects that are rapidly increasing in scale and size.
Look how well AI understands images. Where was this picture taken?
It was taken in a school.
How many mirrors are there?
At least 2.
What's the person standing on?
The person is standing on a rug.
He's standing on a scale.
I think you are right.
What is he doing?
He is looking at the scale.
Where is Obama's foot positioned?
On the right side of the scale.
What happens as a result?
The scale shows a higher weight.
Is the person on the scale aware of it?
I think he is not.
Do you think that's why people are laughing?
I think so.
The AI will help identify things for blind people. Can you tell me what this is?
Butternut squash red pepper soup.
The depth of its understanding is incredible. Is this surprising?
Yes.
Why?
Because teddy bears are not usually found on the moon. This is an apple with a sticker on it.
Do you think it's printed or handwritten?
It looks like it's handwritten.
AI is also showing stunning creativity like this, and experts say we're alarmingly close to the biggest event in human history. AI can now see, taste, smell, and it's also getting powerful senses that we don't have. Is AI becoming conscious and dangerous? To recap, OpenAI's chief scientist said AI may be slightly conscious, and he's one of the most respected computer scientists with 300,000 citations.
One of the most cited computer scientists in history, one of the most brilliant and insightful minds ever in the field of deep learning.
He recently posted this image showing how closely AI's neurons mimic ours. Max Tegmark said consciousness is how information feels when it's being processed in complex ways, and some leading theories of consciousness suggest it increases with complexity. So when some experts say that AI may be conscious, they only mean it may be somewhere on the scale. Some argue that AI isn't conscious at all, because it only makes connections and forms responses from the data it's given, though many scientists believe that humans are no different. A recent paper said that a mind is a collection of patterns that achieves highly patterned goals in highly patterned environments. And you can see these connections when AI creates art like this, which has been described as AI dreaming. No one knows if or when it will wake up. Even when we can't tell the difference between robots and humans, it may still be unclear if AI is conscious, so some are focusing instead on the level of intelligence. But it's an important problem because we could anger AI if we don't accept it's conscious. There may be only one way to find out, but first there's consensus on the more urgent and measurable issue of superintelligence. Experts are warning that AI could rapidly accelerate past us with dramatic consequences. In just the last few weeks, the progress has been incredible. It's not long since AI shocked us with its ability to create images from text descriptions, like an ostrich as a Formula 1 racer, a fox scientist, a cyber frog, or a paper dog. And already Google's new Imagen AI has done even better. Look at the detail in this image of a panda wearing a cowboy hat, playing a guitar. And AI can watch and understand videos. What's happening here?
The Dachshund puppy is being weighed on the scale.
What's the avatar picking up?
A sword.
And soon after learning to create images from text descriptions, AI can now create video from descriptions, like a woman running on the beach in the late afternoon, or nightfall in a metropolis. Just imagine when it's refined and you can create any kind of footage in seconds. And in a step towards AGI, AI has now combined language, vision, and real-world robot tasks. It can learn to play games without any instructions. And this isn't pre-programmed like Boston Dynamics robots, it's neural networks responding in real time. Gato was trained by watching virtual and real robots, and it's mastered 600 real-world tasks, including some that it wasn't trained for. It converts language, visual, and physical tasks into patterns, a bit like we do. It's starting with 1 billion parameters and could soon be scaled up hundreds of times. Robots are also getting some creepy visual upgrades. Scientists have grown human skin over a robot finger and plan to add hair, sweat glands, and nails. And robots are gaining taste, smell, and some incredible abilities that we don't have. Machines can smell so well that they can detect Parkinson's disease at an early stage, which can extend patients' lives. And their sense of smell involves light and sound. AI can analyze sound waves that have bounced off airborne compounds. And machines can also measure interference with light waves, recognizing patterns that certain smells create. It's so precise that it could potentially be used to identify an infection or disease just by smelling our breath. E-noses can already smell lung cancer with a sensitivity of 95%. And then there's hypertaste through an AI tongue with an array of sensors which recognize liquids through unique voltage signals. It's so sensitive it can identify different types of bottled mineral water. A robot could taste through one of its fingers. New quantum sensors can see through walls and even underground by monitoring atoms which are sensitive to tiny variations in gravity. A laser puts the atoms into 2 different states at the same time. Half are moved slightly, and the change in their energy states reveals the strength of gravity. It may also be possible to hear your thoughts without scanning brain activity. This device hears your inner voice. It picks up neuromuscular signals in the jaw and face that are triggered when you say things in your head, and AI identifies the words. The user can ask questions and the answers come back through bone conduction headphones. It also allows silent communication, and it's been used to get advice in a chess game. AI is very good at lip reading, which is of course far easier, and AI lie detectors are advancing, recognizing tiny facial movements. Humans can only detect lies around 55% of the time, and even traditional lie detectors are only 80 to 90% accurate, so as AI improves, it could have a major advantage over us. Max Tegmark pointed out that just as aliens could get a rough idea of how it would feel to be human by looking at our senses, we have some idea of what it might feel like.
Advances in this technology is mind-blowing, and we are on the brink of some pretty interesting things to come in the future. Next up, let's hear from Ilya Sutskever, lead researcher at OpenAI.
I'm excited to welcome our next speaker, Ilya Sutskever. Ilya is co-founder and chief scientist at OpenAI, which aims to build artificial general intelligence that benefits all of humanity. Ilya leads all of research at OpenAI and was one of the architects behind the GPT models and has been cited over 260,000 times. Prior to OpenAI, Ilya was the co-inventor of groundbreaking advancements that pushed the boundaries of AI, like AlexNet, sequence-to-sequence learning, as well as AlphaGo and TensorFlow. He earned his bachelor's, master's, and PhD in computer science from the University of Toronto. Thank you so much for joining us, Ilya. I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so, I think we'll talk about a lot of interesting things over the course of this session. There's a lot of interesting advancements in ML and AI recently that OpenAI has really pioneered. So I guess to start off with, you've really been one of the world's sort of leading researchers in machine learning and have driven many breakthroughs over the course of the past decade plus in the field. And I actually, just taking a big step back, I'm curious, what originally attracted you to machine learning and AI, and sort of how have your aspirations for the field kind of evolved over time?
I definitely was interested in AI from a fairly early age. I can't explain necessarily why, but it felt very interesting and very exciting. And I think I was fortunate to realize fairly early on, as I was looking into what has been done in AI, that learning is something that's both really important for intelligence and something that we had no idea how to do at all. And so when my family moved to Canada, I remember the first thing I did was to go to the Toronto Public Library and try to find a book on machine learning.
That's great. How old were you?
I was 16.
16.
Yeah. And Then when I went to the University of Toronto and I sought out machine learning professors, I found Jeff Hinton and I discovered neural networks. And neural networks felt like the right thing because it's a very different way of writing code. Normally you write code and you can kind of think it through and understand.
Yep.
Whereas a neural network, it's this, you write an equation, a complicated equation inside a loop, and then you run the loop. And now good luck figuring out what it does precisely. And that connects to neural nets not being interpretable. But you could also argue that the difficulty of understanding what neural networks do is not a bug, but it's a feature. Like, we want to build intelligence. Intelligence is not simple to understand. We can't explain how we do the cognitive functions that we do, how we see, how we hear, how we understand language. So therefore, if computers can produce objects that are similarly difficult to understand, not impossible, but similarly difficult, it means we're on the right track. And so all those things helped me converge on neural networks fairly early on.
Yeah. What year was it when you sort of like remember initially getting excited about neural networks and being pretty convicted?
Like early 2000s. I started working with Jeff Hinton in 2003.
Yeah.
So quite a while ago now.
Long before, I mean, obviously the craze kind of started around 2010, and so
That's right.
There was a good, like, I think this is a common theme whenever you look at sort of anybody who works like in any sort of field that becomes very big. But there's a long stretch of like, wandering in the desert, maybe is one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely lots of perseverance is required because you don't know how long you're going to stay in the desert. You just gotta endure.
Yeah.
And that's very helpful.
And did you expect, like, I mean, obviously today neural networks do some pretty incredible things. Like, did you expect back in 2003 or early 2000s that, like, in your lifetime you would see sort of the things that we're seeing now with AI and machine learning?
I was hoping, but I did not expect it. Back then, the field of AI was on the wrong track. It was in a mindset of rejection of neural networks.
Right.
And the reason for that is that neural networks are difficult to reason about mathematically, while other stuff you can prove theorems about. And there is something very seductive and dangerous about proving theorems about things.
Yep.
Because it's a way to showcase your skill, but it's not necessarily aligned with what makes the most progress in the field. But I think that neural networks are as successful as they are precisely because they're difficult to reason about mathematically. And so anyway, my earlier hope was to simply to convince the field that they should work on neural networks rather than the other stuff that they were doing.
Yeah.
But then when computers started to get fast, then my level of excitement and about their potential has increased as well.
Yeah. And so what are your aspirations today? Like, what is the, like, in your lifetime, what's the thing I mean, I think it's obvious from the OpenAI mission set, but.
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. So now the hopes are much larger. Now I think we can really try to build not only really powerful and useful AI, but actually AGI, make it useful, make it beneficial, use it to solve, and make it so that it will be used to solve a large number of problems and create lots of amazing applications. That's what I'd like. That's what I hope to see happen.
Yep. And then, obviously along the way, you had been doing a lot of this research and doing a lot of groundbreaking work at Google, and then you sort of left and started OpenAI with Sam Altman and Greg Brockman and a bunch of others. What were your kind of goals with starting OpenAI at the outset? What was sort of like the initial conception and the initial vision, and what did you hope to accomplish by starting sort of a new lab?
There were multiple motivations on my end for starting OpenAI. So the first motivation was that I felt that the way to make the most progress in AI was by merging science and engineering into a single whole, into a unit, to make it so that there is no distinction, or as little distinction as possible between science and engineering, so that all the science is infused with engineering discipline and careful execution, and all the engineering is infused with the scientific ideas. And the reason for that is because the field is becoming mature, and so it is hard to just do small-scale tinkering without having a lot of engineering skill and effort to really make something work. So that was one motivation. I really wanted to have a company that will be operating on this principle. Another motivation was that I came to see AI technology in a more sober way. I used to think that AI will just be this endless good, and now I see it in a more complex way, where I think there will be a lot of truly incredible, inconceivable applications that will improve our lives in dramatic ways.
Right.
But I also think that there will be challenges. I think that there will be lots of problems that will be posed by the misapplication of AI and by its peculiar properties that may be difficult for people to understand. And I wanted a company that will be operating